everybody. Welcome to another book of the month. I'm Tanner. I'm here with Greg and Keith from Honorbound ID, and today we're joined with Andy from McCook Economic Development. And our book of the month is The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz. Just one of my absolute favorite business books. I've probably read it 4 times, and we're really excited to share it with you guys and talk about what it's all about. And speaking of that, Greg, what the heck is a pumpkin plan?
Well, a pumpkin plan is a method for finding out what you are best at, what you like to do the best, what is the most profitable, and what's going to make you the happiest in operating your small business.
Mm-hmm. So, Keith, can you tell me some of the key things you got early from the book?
Yeah, probably one of the most important things about the pumpkin plan is finding what you're good at, and then narrowing down your focus, and then just tripling down on that, making it a system where you can repeat it and do it over and over, and then you can show somebody else how to do it over and over, and that kind of frees you up to focus on your business and become an actual entrepreneur and not have to worry about having to do everything yourself, because a lot of entrepreneurs find themselves in that trap where maybe it takes them 10 minutes to do something rather than telling somebody else how to do it and spending the time how to do it. Well, that 10 minutes, you do that, maybe 10 times a week, that's 50 minutes a week you could save. And, rather than spending the time doing it yourself as the owner, make a system of it and then train other people to do it. And then you'll free yourself up. That's 50 minutes a week that you can focus on other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Andy, I'm sure you see that with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners here in the area.
Oh, you bet. And the initial story tells about, the best pumpkin growers in the world. They have one huge pumpkin,
mm-hmm.
and then they kill off all the rest. They buy the best seed, they fertilize it, they water it, they nurture it fantastically. I grow pumpkins every year in this little 10 foot by 10 foot square area, and I don't have the heart to kill off the other ones. And so none of my pumpkins are that good. And I see that happen a lot in my professional life too. I love chasing all these ideas. I just don't find those most profitable things and focus on that. And one thing he talked about that I really liked was finding your best clients and then interviewing them and figure out what their needs are, what their challenges are. And when you can meet your best clients' needs, you'll find more like your best clients.
Well, and I think that you came up with a point of not having the heart to pull stuff out of the garden and say, hey, listen, I want this pumpkin to be absolutely ginormic. I want it to be a world-class winner. And, we struggle with that in our little market because, we're tiny and everybody looks to us to do everything. And you just can't do everything very well. And so I think in a smaller market, we need to be smart about this and be picky and choosy, but not to the extent that we are exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that I got from it that I really enjoyed was he was talking about the curve and basically finding where you are on the curve, because everything has a life cycle, like a pumpkin, and he explained in it when I was listening that if you are thinking about what your competitors are doing, you're off on someone else's curve. You're not on your own curve growing your own pumpkin. You need to be so focused on the clients and their wants and their needs. The competition is somewhat irrelevant. They'll be chasing you, but the moment you realize that you're chasing your competition, you're off track and need to refocus.
Well, and I think that, just to kind of give an example here, in our little business, we have 2 sides of it. We have the commercial and we have the residential side. And we pumpkin the hell out of the residential side because we have a process that, Keith, you started with me and you were fixing stuff on your own in 2 weeks because I had an exact program, a proven path for things to do. Now, the commercial side is a little bit different, and that's kind of where we're trying to.
Yeah, the process is really good. Keith brought it up a little bit earlier, and in the book they call it the Airline Card. And I know this is something we talk about quite a bit, where you look at, when you go on a flight, they have the safety procedure for an airline card, and it seems dirt simple, where the 7-year-old can do it to the 70-year-old can do it. But there was so much thought and engineering. And Keith, if you want to talk about that a little bit further.
Yeah, just breaking things down to the ridiculous is something that we talk about a lot. And so, one thing, these processes may have, 50 steps to do. Well, if you can take that down and break it down again and break it down again and break it down again and get that process is so simple where, like Tanner said, even, you can hire on a new person and they can read that card and they can do the process without having to ask a bunch of questions to, get the support. And that's what a strong support system and a good focus on your business will definitely help.
Yeah, it frees me up to my mind up. That's absolutely huge.
Oh, yeah, it kind of reminded me of the E-Myth revisited and set up those processes. But too often, I think small businesses think, I'm the secret sauce, the owner, the general manager, that I'm the secret sauce. And I don't want to create these processes because it'll destroy my art. But the thing I've seen is when they create these general processes on how to do the day-to-day stuff, like you said, that frees their mind up for how do I make this better? How do I stand out? How do I be my best? And so I think people are afraid to work on their business instead of in their business. But when they do that, that frees them to achieve that excellence to really impress their best clients.
Well, I think you touched on something, and maybe we're talking about a different book, but a lot of entrepreneurs are their own worst enemy because they started out as a technician, and didn't have that business acumen. And I really think that the pumpkin plan helps that kind of a person to be able to distill what their strengths are and be able to step outside themselves and let other people do the work. To be cognizant of making sure that the technical parts of the business are being handled. And by technical, I mean, if you're in a restaurant business, you still have technology. Your technology just works with an oven and a mixer and the ingredients. But if you can step back from the day-to-day stuff and let other people do the work with the secret sauce that you have, then you get to take a vacation once in a while and get to enjoy the profits that you earned. I mean, that's why you got in the business to begin with, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the book talks about letting go of your ego. No one else can serve my customers the best I can. And it's thinking of it as, this is our business's customers. This is, my system. And he talks about where he was told at the beginning, and he was very successful already, but by someone he greatly admired, that he wasn't an entrepreneur because he was doing the work. And the book really touches on, and Andy, maybe you can go on it, some values you can instill with your employees so they, meet the same goals that, you want to hold and your business values hold.
Oh, I think the idea of having a standard of excellence is huge. And that was kind of creating those processes so every interaction is at that level of excellence. And it's tough to do because for some of us it comes naturally. The idea of thinking about how do I make this a repeatable process is a challenging thing. But you see businesses that have done it, locally in the region, nationwide. And so it's like you don't need the owner to be there because every individual understands what is excellence. Too often people don't understand, well, what does winning look like in my role? And the ones that can create those processes and those standards, they stand out.
Yeah, and then, we kind of hit on the life cycles a little bit earlier. The other thing is, like, I really liked from the book was he talked about consumers don't really care about supply and demand. They respond to innovation. And he talked about how, mom and pop video stores got crushed by Blockbuster. Blockbuster got crushed by Netflix. And maybe, sometime in the future, Netflix will get crushed by something we never even thought about. And, you always have to be talking with your clients, figuring out what their wants are, and then finding really innovative ways of addressing those true wants and not just things that you think are really cool.
Absolutely. I think a great story from the book was the guy who made the sheaths for like the hunting and survival knives. And what he would do is he would ask the people, they had these small forums, this really tight-knit group of people who really are into those kind of things. And he would ask them what they're looking for in his next sheath that he's going to make. And he would take the responses, and then, the most popular vote would win. And then he would narrow down, make this really awesome sheath, make a limited supply of it, and sell out every time. And so I thought that was one of the better stories. I mean, there's tons of great stories in the book, but that one really stood out to me.
Yeah, and he's kind of funny.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of humor in there if you don't want to be one nut guy.
Yeah, he narrates the audio book as well.
At the end of your career, then, do this, Let's switch gears a little bit because, Andy, you had this, like, absolutely giant dream. tell us about this facility. I mean, we've been really honored to be able to sit here with you, use your equipment, and work with you, read the book and all that. Tell us a little bit about what your dream is and how you're kind of pumpkinizing your.
Thanks. Yeah, well, it's great to have you guys. We're in the McCook Cowork Space, which is brand new. It's America's most affordable cowork space, or as far as we know right now.
Yeah.
But really, if you look at the pandemic this last year, businesses change and people can work from anywhere. So really got to think about what makes McCook a pumpkin. If you want to escape to rural America, what makes this area a pumpkin that stands out that people want to live at there? And so one thing I've seen is people love working remotely, but they don't always like working from home. You got the laundry, you got the dishes, you got the kids. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a professional space here where people can work remotely, but still have a professional office space to go to during the day. So we have a 1,500 square foot space. There's 300 square foot private offices. We got 1 gig internet up and down here. You got some software like Adobe Suite on some of the computers you can use here, professional copier, scanner, and a variety of different workplaces. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a remote worker, you can come here and have great office space. But you still live in McCook and you drive 2 minutes to work. And if there's 3 cars that pass you on Norris, it's a traffic jam there. So what we want to do is how do we make McCook stand out for people that can live anywhere to move here and work here?
So you got it figured out, brother.
Every
As
day.
far as knowing exactly what you want, that might I add that a lot of these people that are no longer needing to go into work. Well, why would you buy a $500,000 house? In a place where, heck, what would $500,000 house buy you here? How many people could move out here and be completely mortgage free? Because they could pull cash out of their pocket and have less stress. Because
You
we're
don't have
rural
Yeah.
and people are real around here.
Yeah, they said the average price of a house in Denver is now over $600,000. It's really what I say, if you leave in the front range, you can sell square feet and buy square acres out here. That's a whole different mindset. Have a yard, have a house, and have money left over. So, it's we have some great things. We just got to, show our pumpkin to the rest of the world.
Yep, definitely. And I guess to wrap up, I'll ask each of you, and I'll start with myself, what's kind of one key takeaway you took from the book that you want to take action on? My biggest thing I got was the interviewing the clients. Starting from moving forward, I really want to talk with our current clients and the clients that I want and really ask them what they're wanting and then shape our services to fulfill those needs. Keith?
Going along with that, once we know what they want, we can make a system out of it and just, focus on it, make it as good as possible, like the Airline Card, where anybody can do it, and then we can continue that process and add more people and just do the process over and over and make everybody's lives a lot better.
That'll make your life as a service writer a lot easier too. Greg?
I think the innovation part of it, that once you have all of this figured out, and we got a little ways to go yet. Fortunately, the pumpkinplan.com has some worksheets that you can use. We're going to work through this whole process. That's kind of going to be my quarterly rock for this quarter, is to work the pumpkin plan so that we can figure out who we want to deal with, and then we can innovate to be the something best, fastest.
The estices.
The estis, you want to add est at the end of your, so you have a claim to fame that's, you're the go-to guy for this.
Andy?
Oh, I love the client interview too, but I think the other theme for me is do less better. What are the main things that really drive my organization, drive my business, spend more time doing that and say no to everything else.
Perfect. Well, I'm excited to see all the giant pumpkins we end up with the next time. So, all right. Well, this was Book of the Month. We will see you guys next month.
Bye.